What are you doing to prove to that retailer that you're going to drive customers into their store? As you're designing your marketing strategy to generate interest in a local geography, that can look like a combination of digital and print. Things like mailers, direct mail still works. It still works for B2B. It still works for B2C. It has to be trackable. It has to have a digital component in it. All of that interest, all of those interest signals, even if you're fairly early in sales, those interest signals that you can collect through that type of digital marketing make a very powerful case to retailers to say, hey, if we make this now available in stores, there's actually going to be people coming in to buy.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Marketing Blender Show. I'm Dacia.
And I'm Daisy.
Now today we are discussing how to navigate the complexities of B2B2C marketing. Now I'm talking about business to consumers. So we are talking to you guys. If you sell into a Walmart or another big box company or any other retail chains, C-stores, anything like that where you do not own the customer relationship per se, and where money actually transacts at the final end user of your product, this show is for you. Now, I love this one because do you know how, I guess it doesn't happen as much as it used to, but I've had a number of conversations where people have literally said, oh my gosh, I never thought about my business model like that before. And it's because they're so focused on developing a product that the market will love that they forget their real revenue comes from a buyer, not from an end user, not from a consumer, hence the B2B2C.
Exactly. I actually used to work in corporate procurement for a manufacturer, and they sold to Walmart and Costco and Home Depot, and they had their brand name on nothing out there. And their 100% model was, we sell to the big box retailers. They put their name on it. We make sure that we're the one that are chosen year after year, contract after contract for that. Now, a lot of our customers in B2B2C, they will have their brand name on something. Their end users will know something about them. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that angle as well. But you're absolutely right. You only care about, can I get that purchasing decision maker to say yes to my product? Because if not, my business has no future.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I would be remiss to not let you kick this one off because everything is about what that buyer, what that big box, what that retailer cares about, not what you think the market cares about. Marketing is marketing to the person that is making that decision that makes or breaks your success. So what the heck do they care about?
So first of all, what B2B retail buyers don't care about is your thing is new, or your thing is even better, or it seems exciting, or all of the things that made you a creator of the thing that you're trying to sell through the big box retailer. What they care about are things like volume, profit margin, and the ability to move product. So if they know that they're going to be able to get sufficient volume for this to make sense for them, if they know that you're going to be able to help them move products off the shelf, so it's not just going to sit there because inventory is death in the retail space,
yes.
And they know they're going to be able to have a profitable margin on those sales. Those are the things they care about. If you're not speaking that language, or if you're not at least starting there, you're not going to get a seat at the table.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And so those are the definitives. You don't have to question them. These are always important. The other one is go read the published public documentation that the CEO is talking about when he's talking to shareholders, when he's doing public communication. That CEO, those executives are telling the truth about what they have prioritized and pushed down to all of their buyers. So guess what they care about? They care about what the CEO says they care about. And so if that is innovation, and great point, innovation is not if you innovated your product or your market, it's how they define innovation and what that has to do with them. So being real careful about what do they care about. One other one, so as an example, this one came up recently, is one CEO was making the announcement that a very specific market segment, a very specific group of consumers was their number one priority in growth opportunity to drive shareholder value. Okay, now the messaging for that company was, we can help you get in front of that exact priority target consumer in a way that you currently are not navigating. And that's strong marketing, and that's strong messaging, not here's the whiz bang about my thing imaging.
Right. And a good point about what is the CEO communicating. If that's sustainability initiatives, it's corporate stewardship initiatives, anything like that that you can work into your messaging that says, we know what you're looking to accomplish.
Yes.
We know what you've been told is important. Here are the 5 ways we're going to help you accomplish that.
Yeah.
And that's not messaging that retailers are necessarily used to hearing from, smaller companies that are trying to sell to them. They're used to, here's how amazing my product is.
Yeah.
They hear that all day long.
Exactly.
That's flipping through the resumes, flipping through the headshots. That's not the thing that grabs attention.
Exactly. And there's another reason why this type of messaging is so effective. Not only are you talking to them about what they care about, which makes them pay attention, but you are also communicating a different type of level of sophistication and business understanding that your competitors or other smaller providers and manufacturers may not be offering to these big box. This is their standard everyday language. And if you do not sound like them, it is going to be very difficult to garner the type of respect and prove that you can add value to their business model. And so that resonance is so, so important in level setting and making sure that they know you deserve a seat at the table.
I think it's important to point out that being able to answer the questions that this buyer persona has, but also being able to prove things is very important.
Yeah.
So if they're like, well, what's our profit margin on this going to be? Being able to prove that you know how to command a premium price for your product is very important. And guess what? That doesn't happen without people caring about your brand.
Yes.
Because brand is the thing that people pay more for.
Yep. Absolutely. And you brought up earlier sell-through. And so are you doing anything in the market that proves that you are going to drive demand and push things off the shelf through their system? They're not going to be, just saddled with inventory that they don't want. Do you have any other case studies? Can you show your marketing efforts? Can you show how effectively they're working? And maybe, especially if you have great tracking, that's a great proof statement around, we can literally track consumer behavior and engagement of our brand and of our promotions. And this is what it looks like in the markets that we support currently.
For sure. And what better way to get into a retail environment than to have customers in that store saying, well, why don't you carry this?
Yeah.
Get enough people saying that, and people are going to start paying attention at the corporate level. And, oh, well, this target demographic in this region keeps asking for this. I guess they're going across the street to our competitor to buy it because we don't have it on our shelves.
Yeah. And, there's one other thing that I wanted to bring up before we really start hitting demand generation and what role that does play is, are you with the right buyer? There are times when you might align with multiple categories, and understanding the role of that category, the role of that buyer in their overall enterprise is so critical. And actually even thinking creatively about who would derive the maximum value out of your product or out of your offering for them. And little side note, sometimes clients aren't selling a consumer product. They're selling something that the retailer must have to function, right? Like in their physical environment. So, whether it's the point, how they transact with a customer or how their store is laid out or, what the experience is. Sometimes it's a part of their store experience. And so that's another complicated one where sometimes creativity and really making sure that you have value alignment can better help you find your real advocate, because the dollars might be from marketing, not from your category buyer. Like you might be aligned with somebody that is not quote unquote self-evident because they're labeled as the same industry or the same type of product that you offer. So there's some sophistication necessary in navigating and testing out, okay, what are our different entry points and who who can we really truly get to advocate for us on there?
And that's a fantastic point. If there's someone in charge of shopper experience and the kind of interactive in-display that you've designed is going to add wow to their stores, oh my goodness, you just jumped to the top of the list. So everything that you're creating around the packaging, the materials that go with your product, the interactivity that customers can have, whether it's through QR codes or augmented reality. I mean, the sky's the limit on this stuff. The more of that you've carefully thought through and that you can present as part of the package that goes above and beyond the product. And remember, everything except the actual product itself is branding.
Yes.
Everything that you can do to make that branding compelling and engaging for their shoppers is going to help you elevate your chances of being chosen.
At the Marketing Blender, we have fractional CMOs and outsourced marketing teams to drive your success. The two most common problems that we are approached about is how do we break revenue plateaus and accelerate success, or how do we attribute marketing to revenue impact? And the answer is that we build a system, because your marketing should be driving revenue, it should be driving your reputation, and it should be driving resilience. If you want to learn more, check out themarketingblender.com. Now, this also comes around to how do you present this to the buyer. And so I have two really important things I want to share with you. Number one, there is a very specific way to exert maximum influence with a sophisticated buyer. Now, at the Marketing Blender, we call it messaging choreography. But basically, it's making sure that you understand the psychology of decision making, especially complicated decision making. So when you finally do get a meeting, or if you're just trying to get a meeting and you're planting seeds that are curiosity hooks or alignment hooks, you need to start with mirroring what they believe and what they care about. That buyer is inundated with people like you. So your immediate messaging must first always be about them and their priorities and their pain points. And then there is a structure, and we've got another podcast on messaging choreography and great messaging. But you then follow bringing industry insights, bringing those proof statements, bringing those aha moments to a buyer that helps them better achieve their goals, sharing the proof statements so that you can be believed. And then at the end, they get curious about your whiz bang and your features and your benefits and all of the other things that you bring to bear to negotiate. That's at the end, because you've already built buy-in. So how you present is really important. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that whatever manufacturers or people selling into these retailers think it takes to get a meeting, 10x that, 100x that. It takes so much diligence just to get that meeting, and then to get the follow-up and make sure that they're advocating and that they are progressing and prioritizing your offering. Because you might have a great meeting and then wah, wah. And so I really just always want to make sure that people in this environment have lots of balls in the air, lots of opportunities that are chasing, and they are ready to go the distance with every single opportunity that presents itself, because these sales cycles are not one and done, and they can change. And if that buyer leaves to go to another place, you start all over, but at least you got that insight that you were onto something. So that fortified point of view, like even mindset of what it takes to get in. And once you do, and once you add value, wow, like there's huge potential, but you just got to really have that readiness to have a plan that will take you the distance and really make sure you get it.
I agree. As we're segueing into the consumer side of the conversation, I'd like to dive into what demand generation can look like. So if you're going to be selling into local big box stores, what are you doing to generate local interest in your geographic region?
Yeah.
What are you doing to prove to that retailer that you're going to drive customers into their store? So this can look like a lot of different things. As you're designing your marketing strategy to generate interest in a local geography, to help boost in-store sales for an item that you're looking to have sold through a retailer, that can look like a combination of digital and print. Things like mailers, direct mail still works. It still works for B2B. It still works for B2C. It has to be trackable. It has to have a digital component in it. You need to make sure your physical mailers are something that stands out enough that people will interact with it, whether that's having like an area of the postcard that actually sticks out further than the rest of the mail that they're handling, or other things that they can tear off and take with them into the store that fit nicely inside their wallet, and things that they can interact with on the mailer itself. So, oh, here's where I can go to get my QR code that I can show in the store, or here's where I can go click and watch this funny video about, how this product is being used, or here's how I can get tips for how to use it. All of the ways that you can reach people through digital mail are a piece of it, but you need to be driving people into interacting with you digitally. Online, there are things you can do with, streaming ads on TV. There are things you can do with showcasing your product in Amazon ads, very, very targeted, the types of people you're going to sell to in the regions you're going to sell to them, even if you're not selling on Amazon. You don't have to have an e-commerce play to leverage that advertising platform to generate interest in your product. All of that interest, all of those interest signals, even if you're fairly early in sales, those interest signals that you can collect through that type of digital marketing make a very powerful case to retailers to say, hey, if we make this now available in stores, there's actually going to be people coming in to buy.
And I love this for another reason too, because so often what happens is, let's say you get a great meeting, you're really onto something, they understand the value. What do? They say, we're going to do a test. We're going to put you in 100 stores. We're going to put you in 200 stores. We're going to put you just here or just there. Wow, you better be ready to drive that demand and drive that sell through. You had better be just as accountable, not hoping it sells through,
right,
but committed to, you are going to drive sell through, so that now you go to all the stores or the next level of test market that they have identified for you. But I love this because it's a 1-2 punch. Like, you should be doing it just to get the opportunity, but then because you're doing it, it will make that opportunity successful, which is a win-win. That retailer does not want you to fail.
No.
So they did not take a bet on you, a risk on you, for you to be lackluster. So do the work, do what it takes to be a real business, that really is going to succeed once you get the swing.
And remember, if you are in consumer packaged goods of some kind, there is already something else out there that people can buy instead of your thing. Let's be honest. There's no something new that nobody has ever seen before that solves a problem that no one has ever solved before in the consumer space.
Yeah.
We see it all the time in B2B, B2C, not really. There are other options that people have, which means there are other options that retailers have to sell in their store. So if you're the vendor that's helping them sell the most, you've shown them that you can do the marketing to drive the demand, and you can help build repeat customers. You can help build their ability to upsell and cross-sell other items in the store. Guess who they're never going to want to kick off their shelves? Guess who they're never going to want to put on the bottom shelf way in the back? It's going to be you.
Oh my gosh, so true. And that brings us right back to brand. Because let's pretend in some very bizarre galaxy, you actually did come up with something so novel and so brand new. If it is worthy and the market likes it, there will be a copycat on Amazon just like that.
Yep.
So your brand being the one is absolutely critical. But going back to what you were saying about nothing new under the sun, what is your real positioning? What are you being compared to? What is an alternative? Why would people love you more? Is there brand identity and core value alignment with the market that you're leveraging? Are you building community online where your product represents something more than just the thing that you sold, that turns people into raving fans and people that promote and advocate and demand you to be in their favorite stores? So this is just really, really true. Daisy brings up such a great point. Do not love your product and your idea so much that you become blinded to how other people will perceive it, because it will blind you to the ways that you can maximize value and make your brand stickier, both to those buyers as well as to the consumers.
Brand.
I know.
It's all about the brand.
It's so funny because we don't always do brand first podcasts, and this one is just so big.
It completely is. Consumers care about brands so much.
Which means buyers care
it's
about
part
brands.
of their identity. So the more you create that wow factor and the more you create tribe around your brand, the better it is for you. So we talked a little bit about, digital marketing and, print marketing. I think it's very important to understand that always you are building a pathway into the store. You are building a pathway for customers to buy that product, but it doesn't end there. The quality of your after support for your customers is going to be what keeps those retailers interested, because people are delighted with your products and they're recommending them to others. And they're making sure that they don't get a black eye from, well, we bought this at the such and such store. They carry such garbage over there. You never know what you're going to get. You need to make sure that you are respecting the reputation of the retailers who are trusting your brand in their stores by taking excellent care of the consumer. Even if technically, if they go return it, they're going to go get their money back from the retailer. Guess what? If that happens enough, that retailer's going to come get that money back from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you guys, we recognize that this is a complex environment, and we want you to have the broad view, and you have to have the discipline to organize your marketing plan into the appropriate segments and the appropriate messaging strategies that both drive consumer demand, elevate your brand positioning in the minds of everyone, and create resonance and goal achievement for those professional buyers. So thank you guys so much. We would love to hear your questions. We recognize that there are a lot of nuances and complexities, and we've been around this rodeo a couple of times. So whether you hit us up in the comments, whether you reach out to us through the marketingblender.com or DM us on either one of our social medias, we would love to be there for you. So thank you so much. Couple final things. We've got multiple podcasts that we mentioned in this one. So we have the messaging choreography. We did an entire podcast recently on demand generation specifically, and it was a much, much deeper dive into that. And then I think there was another one. We'll have Samaria post it in the show notes, but we're starting to overlap and stack. And so if you liked what you heard, but you were like, ooh, go a little bit deeper, we probably already have. So check the show notes, check those out, and hit that subscribe button. Because if you do, we will see you next week with more great content, and we would love to hear what you want to hear about. Onward and upward, my friends.